Aloha from the island of Maui, and welcome to A Course in Miracles workbook lesson number 8. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. So let's go back and kind of read these main ideas starting at lesson 1. Nothing I see in this room means anything. In lesson 2, we read, I have given everything I see in this room all the meaning that it has for me. Number 3, I do not understand anything that I see. Number 4 was, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. Number 5, I am never upset for the reason I think. And number 6, I am upset because I see something that is not there. In lesson 7, I see only the past. Today, we're on lesson number 8. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. This idea is, of course, the reason why you see only the past. No one really sees anything. He sees only his thoughts projected outward. And remember, we talked about that yesterday. We think we see something that is outside of us that we call the world, but according to the Course, no one really sees anything. What we see is our own thoughts projected outside of us. The mind's preoccupation with the past is the cause of the misconception about time from which you are seeing suffers. Your mind cannot grasp the present, which is the only time there is. It therefore cannot understand time and cannot, in fact, understand anything. The one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it is not there. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or in anticipating the future. The mind is actually blank when it does this, because it is not really thinking about anything. So what this is saying, if you don't mind me saying, is that when you're sitting around thinking that you're thinking about things, you're really not thinking at all, because what you're thinking about is the past or the future. Rarely are we really ever in this moment. And the past is gone. The future is not here. And the present, this actual moment, is the only time that really exists. So when we're thinking about the past, which is usually what the mind likes to go to, or worrying about the future, but often we are thinking about the past because it's our past that's like a cache in our mind, that when we see a tree or a flower or a person, immediately our mind goes back to our concept of what a flower or a tree or a person or a friend is, and immediately that's what we see. It sort of brings it up. So we don't really see what's actually here and now as it really is. We see our perception of what is here and now, and that's what it's saying here. So when we're seeing a perception, this is really blocking our true seeing, and we're not really seeing what's really there. Is basically what it's saying, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it because we're so used to thinking that what we're actually seeing is what's really there. But the Course, Lesson 8 says, the one wholly true thought one can hold about the past is that it is not here. It's gone. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. Very few have realized what is actually entailed in picturing the past or anticipating the future. The mind is actually blank when it does this, because it's not really thinking about anything. Do you kind of get what it's saying? It's saying when you're thinking about something that isn't real and the past isn't real, if the present is the only thing that's real and what you're thinking about is the past, then you're really thinking about nothing at all. You're thinking about an illusion. And if you're really thinking about nothing at all, you're really not thinking. Your mind is blank. The purpose of the exercises for today is to begin to train your mind to recognize when it is not really thinking at all. And for most of us, that's most of the time. We're not really thinking at all. While thoughtless ideas preoccupy your mind, the truth is blocked. And that is something that it's hard to see without this mind training course of A Course in Miracles, because we're so used to calling what we see and perceive reality. But the Course is saying reality is out there, but you're not really seeing it. You're really just seeing the past. So we have to go through these exercises to begin to open the door to actually seeing things the way they really are. Because really, we're not seeing anything most of the time. And these exercises are, it's their purpose is to train our mind to recognize when it's not really thinking at all. Recognizing that your mind has been merely blank rather than believing that it is filled with real ideas is the first step to opening the way to true vision. The exercises for today should be done with eyes closed. This is because you actually cannot see anything, and it's easier to recognize that no matter how vividly you may picture a thought, you are not seeing anything. With as little investment as possible, search your mind for the usual minute or so, merely noting the thoughts you find there. Name each one by the central figure or theme it contains, and pass on to the next. Introduce the practice period by saying, I seem to be thinking about, and whatever you think you're thinking about, Then name each of your thoughts specifically. For example, I seem to be thinking about my best friend. Name that person. Or about an object. I seem to be thinking about the ocean, or sailing out on the sea, or an emotion. I seem to be thinking about fear of what's going to happen to our country, or what's going to happen with this next year, and so on, concluding at the end of the mind-searching period with, but my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. This can be done 4 or 5 times during the day unless you find it irritates you. If you find it trying, 3 or 4 times is sufficient. You might find it helpful, however, to include your irritation or any emotion that the idea for today may induce in the mind searching itself. So this is kind of it's introducing the idea that of the present moment being real and the past and the future not being real. And that is an alien idea to our mind, because our mind spends most of its time in the past, maybe regretting, maybe worrying about things that we've done, especially the older you get, or wondering, anticipating, worrying about, or excited about the future. And so we skip over that little interval in between called the present moment. But that's what is really real. And we need to start to begin, if we really want to begin to see with real true vision, we have to recognize that what we have been seeing is the past. And so here we go with this course. And remember to practice it 3 or 4 times today. Maybe you want to set your watch. Maybe not. But anyway, good luck with it. And aloha.